Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and we're going to be streaming on Monday again. It's quite soon, but a new game has just been released and Simon's found it, Blueprints or something like that, and he's keen to have a go while the iron is hot. So we're going to be doing that on Monday at 10 p.m. Goodness knows how that will go. Very untested, very unrecommended for once. We'll see what happens. I've got a 6x6 puzzle on the screen, but I don't think it's going to be easy at all. It's a quattro quadri. I'll have a look at that in a moment. On Patreon, you can definitely still have a go at the April Foolery puzzle hunt, where there are bogus digits in every grid until the last one, where you combine all the previous bogus digits and make them non-bogus. It's quite tough. Finding the bogus digit in many cases is not easy, but once you've got it, the puzzles are very doable. And there will be people who will help you on Patreon chat on the Discord server. The Discord server is a marvellous resource, of course, hundreds and thousands of people chatting about Sudoku every day on it, which is just a marvellous thing in its own right. What else is going on? We've got, of course, all of our apps where you can find Line Sudoku and Killer Sudoku and Domino Sudoku and our latest Fog of War. There's our merchandise featuring the wonderful, I've just seen a spider on my desk, that's very strange, featuring the wonderful merch, the t-shirt by Amber Pitcher, the Secret Squared t-shirt for this year. And of course there's SVEN'S SUDOKU PAD. They're all on the links under the video. And you can definitely find your way to those things there, but this puzzle is also the first link under the video, Tension by Maya. And the rules are not normal Sudoku rules. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each into each 3x3 box. Digits may not repeat in the same row, column, or obviously box. Now that means that the rows and columns are deficient. They don't have all 9 digits because they're only 6 cells long. But each box is not deficient. It's complete with all the digits 1 to 9. A teal line can be divided into 1 or more non-overlapping segments that each sum to 10. Digits may repeat on 10 lines if that's allowed by other rules. White dots separate 2 cells that have consecutive numbers in. And digits in a cage must add up to the indicated number, obviously without repeats. Right, those are the rules. Give it a try. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. Okay, well, I was going to say there's not much given away here, but then I finally, having looked at the cages in clockwise order, I found this one. 23 cage. We normally know that that's 986, and I don't think there's any reason to think in this puzzle that it's not. Now, let's think about the 10 line that's on then. If we had a 9 on this 10 line, this is really interesting. I can't actually see a way this works in my head quickly. Okay, but let's go through the thought process bit by bit. If there was a 9 on one end of the other, the digit outside the 9 on the line would have to be a 1, because it's going to have to combine with the 9. So that would be one group of 10. Now the other digit, if it was an 8, it would have to combine with a 2 on one side or the other, but that would leave one digit on its own, which is impossible. But if it was a 6, it would either have to combine with a 4, leaving one digit on its own, or with a 1 and a 3, but we've already used the 1. So I think that means there isn't a 9 on the line. And now we have to find a way to make it work with 8 and 6. Right, whichever one of these is an 8, the outside cell must be a 2. It can't be 181 because you'd have a repeat. So one of the ends of this line goes 2, 8. And the other bit of the line doesn't go 6, 4 and blank, it goes 6, 3, 1. So these are the digits 1, 2, 3. That feels quite complicated to me, but absolutely the only way to do it. Obviously this line is sort of symmetrical. Even with the white dots, there's no way of telling which way around it goes. So the only digit we actually get to place in box 3 is the 9. However, the white dots are quite interesting in their own right. The next digit along, connecting with a 1, 2 or 3 by consecutiveness, is obviously 1, 2, 3 or 4. And now we've used up... no, this is interesting, isn't it? I was wondering if something was ruled out here. It is. This digit can't be a 2. That's so strange. I first of all thought maybe it can't be a 1, but then that's not difficult at all. 2 here will connect with a 3 on the white dots, and 3 will connect with a 2 or a 4. 1 is possibly the easiest number this could be. Then I thought maybe it's 3. 3 can't be there because this will be 1 and 2, but that's fine. They could both form 1, 2 pairs. It's 2 that doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because one of these digits would be a 1 and would have to connect with a 2, but that would already see the 2 in the corner. I mean, I'm quite excited by this pathetic limp discovery of removing a 2 from that. Just tells you something about who I am. Well, I mean, this puzzle's called Tension. I haven't felt tension yet. I felt just interest in everything we've done so far. But the tension probably ratchets up about now, because I don't know where to go next at all. These being on, this is on a teal line. That one isn't, so it's less interesting maybe. Now this is a 19 cage. I have experience with 20 cages. 19 I don't really know. I guess if it didn't have a 9 in, yeah, it's quite interesting. If it does have a 9 in, the 9 is here. That is really interesting actually. If this is a 9, like there are a number of ways of making up 19 in 3 digits. Most of them use a 9. I'll come back to the others in a moment. If we did use a 9, that would be a 9. This digit's going to have to be a 1. That is going to dictate what this is, what this is, what this is, and what this is. And also, 1 and 9 on this line is going to leave 3 digits which have to add up to 10, because you can't do it in 1 digit ever. And if you used a 2, you'd have 1 left. So 1 and 9 there would leave 3 digits adding up to 10 without a 1, and they would have to be 2, 3, 5. And that might be impossible because it would leave 4, 6, 7 and 8 for this line. Okay, that is not impossible. You could put 6, 4 there, 7 and 8 here with their pairings on the outside. Okay. That's not impossible, which is a shame. Okay, but I promised I would come back to what happens if this doesn't have a 9 in. If it's 20, there's only one way of doing it without a 9, but if it's 19, there's probably 2. You would have to have an 8 and 2 digits that add up to 11, which would be 7 and 4 or 6 and 5. And the trouble there is 8, 7, 4, 8, 6, 5, I think are very unrestricted here. Well, it's annoying that you can put a 9 there. It would be lovely to come up with a version of the puzzle that said, well, it would be, sorry, as a solver, it would be lovely to be able to say, there must be a 9 or an 8 in this cage and it can never be on the lines, which sort of worked down here. But I don't think it does work up here. Because then you'd have to put an 8 here and that would be real progress in this. I can't do that. I can't do that and I don't know how to proceed. Oh, I'm going to have to think about this box, which is completely opposite the box where I've done things. Or is it worth thinking a bit more about what happens with one 9 here. With a 9 there, that becomes a 1. That's 2, that's 3, that's 1. That's 2. Ah, that is a problem. I mean, this is a bit of a look ahead, but I'm prepared to do it. Okay, and I'm going to show you what I'm thinking, because this is... Okay, what I'm thinking is based around the thing I said earlier. If that's a 9, this is a 1, that's 2, 3, 5. These cells are 4, 6, 7 and 8 in some order. Now the only way that my brain came up with allowing that to be possible, think about these two. Whatever cell is here or here is going to have to combine with another one out of 4, 6, 7, 8 to make, well, at least one other digit out of 4, 6, 7, 8 to make a 10 sum. And it can't be 6, 7 or 6, 8 or 7, 8. The only two digits you can combine at all, even if you allowed for a third, are 4 and 6. And I think they'd have to be in these two cells, because if you combined them there, you'd have 1 left over or there. Yeah, 4 and 6 would be here. 7 and 8 would be in these two cells. And these would be 2 and 3, but that would be a clash with the 2 that I'm positing here. So if I said there was a 9 in this 19 cage, it would be here. I'm going to now paint this in. Let's just put in a pink cell to say this is wrong. If that was a 9, this digit would have to be a 1. Nothing else it could be. That would make this a 2. That would make this 3 in the corner and 1. You could actually fill in the 8 and the 6 there if you wanted. It doesn't really matter. The point is that that would put a 2 here, and then the 4, 6 that would go there and the 7, 8 that would go there. Whichever one was an 8 would need a 2 in this cell, and it couldn't get it. So that doesn't work. And that's why I know that this cage does not have a 9 in. It's either 8, 6, 5. Oh, here's Mr. Spider. Go away. I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to brush you off my desk. Or 8, 7, 4. And there's always an 8 in it. And I don't know, it feels like that matters. If the 8 is on the perimeter, the digit outside it on the line, again, must be 2. 2, 8, and then the other 3 cells will add up to 10 without using a 2. They would be 1, 3, 6 or 1, 4, 5. But you're still running into these problems. If it was 2, 8, 1, 3, 6, these would be 4, 5, 7, 9. Now the only 2 you could combine would be 4, 5 with a 1, but then you'd be left with 9 and 7, and that would break. So that doesn't work. So the other possibility is 2, 8, 1, 4, 5. Then you've got 3, 6, 7, 9. It's exactly, no, it's not exactly the same deal. 3, 6, 1 won't work because you're left with 7 and 9. But you can have 3, 7. Again, I think they'd have to be here. And 6, 9 here. And then these become 1 and 4. And there is a way to make that work. So 8 can be in the perimeter. I couldn't prove that it had to be here. That was complicated though. I bet that is what happens, but I haven't got any evidence. Okay, can I think about the effect that these possible digits have on these cells? So this line, I mean, these are going to add up to at least 9. The line is going to divide into 2 sets of 10. It's going to add up to 20. How do I know it's 2 sets? Well, it can't be 1 set because there's 5 different digits. They would add up to at least 15. It can't be 3 sets, or one of the sets would only be 1 cell long. That's impossible. So it's definitely 2 sets, and they definitely add up to 20. So these digits add up to 25, just as these do. Now I can't put a 9 there because it can't go next to a 1, and the same is true there. So 9 is in one of these cells. And these 4 add up to 25. They're either 9754 or 9763. I think we've proved it can't be 9754. Yeah, I went through that and it was impossible. So they're either 9653 or 98 something. 9871, 9862 or 9853. That is a lot of possibilities. However, if they're 98 something, the 8 has to be here. So this is either an 8 or what is the alternative? 9763. And this cage either has a 7 or a 6 in it. So if it's 9763, that 7 or 6 has to be in the green area. So it has to be here. So this is 8, 7 or 6. If it's 9763, what else happens? This is 12458. There's an 82 and a 154. Two would be in one of those cells. 1 would be in one of these 3. It doesn't really do anything much. Don't know. 9. Nine, 7, 6, 3. Oh, that's what I've been working on. Okay. Otherwise, this is an 8. Now, how is that going to be an 8 and one of these be a 9? That's quite interesting. Oh, I was going to say it cannot be going this way, the 8 sum, because it would be 8, 2 and that would be impossible. But wait, 8, 1, 1 is legal. If the 8 sum was going this way, it would have to be 8, 2. You'd have a 9 here and you'd definitely have a 1 here. If it's 8 going this way, it's 8, 1, 1. But that 9 is going to be broken because it's going to need to go with a 1 and it couldn't. Am I ruling out 8 being here? We've got 8. No, I'm not. 8, 2 there is possible. No, 2 can't be in this. 9, 8, 2. What do they add up to? I've forgotten again. Same as this lot. 25. 9, 8, 2. Oh, and a 6. That is possible. But 8, 2 would be there. That would be 9, 6. This would be a 1, 4 pair. That couldn't be 1 because you'd need another 2 in the box. So that would be the 4 and that would be the 1. I mean, that is possible. For this to be an 8 is just possible in a very constrained way. 8, 6. So 6 would be used here. This would be 8, 7, 4. 7 and 4. 9, 8, 6, 2, 7, 4 to go with 1, 5, 3. So the 7 would go with a 3 on the outside and the 4 would be part of a 1, 4, 5. And we would have a 4 here touching a 5 definitely. And that doesn't work. Oh goodness. Okay, this is complicated now, but I'm not afraid to use complicated things in the solving of these puzzles. Right, I'm now going to explain why you can't put an 8 here. And it's going to be quite powerful. So let's postulate 8 there, and I'll tell you why it doesn't work. So the first thing I was thinking is maybe the 8 sum could go this way. But it couldn't be 8, 2 there because this would get cut off. It would have to be 8, 1, 1, but then you'd have a 9 here and that needs to go with a 1. That doesn't work. So the 8 sum's going to have to go this way, where it can't be 8, 1, 1, and it couldn't be 1, 8, 1 like that. So it would have to be 8, 2, leaving 2 10 sums here, one of which is with a 9. But we know that green has to add up to 25, because this is a 29 basically. So that's 9, 6, that's 1, 4. This can't be 1 because that would be 2 clashing with that. This would be 4. The numbers round here, oh, I got this wrong, didn't I? I said the 4 would have to touch a 5. Okay, sorry. Oh, this is looking a bit more like a bifurcation than I wanted it to then. Okay, what I thought I was going to be able to say was that with this being a 7-4 pair here, the 7 would go with a 3 on one end, and the other bit of the line would be 4, 1, 5. And I was going to say that would fail here because we've got that 4. In fact, it would go like this. The 7 would go with the 3 there. That works. This is probably right. So I shouldn't be doing it like that because it looks like a bifurcation. So my apologies. I thought I was going to rule 8 out of here. Instead, maybe I can rule 8 out of one of these two, because 8 in one of these two is going to put a 2 either there or there. 8, 2, and then the pair or the triple that remains is either 1, 3, 6 or 1, 4, 5. I don't know. I don't know that I can make progress from here. I do know that one of these is a 9. And the number outside that has to be a 1. Whichever one of those is a 9, the number outside it has to be a 1, combining with the 9. So one of those two in that column is a 1, and this isn't. And if that is a 2, this has to be 3, that has to be 1, that has to be 3, and this is 2 or 4. Yeah, I don't know, that doesn't advance me, but I do know that one of these lines begins 1, 9. The other bit of the line can't be a single sub-segment of 1, 2, 3, 4, because that digit wouldn't fit into it. So we have 3 2-cell segments on this line. It is basically a 30 line. One 9. This is either, this is a pair that adds to 10. So with that being 6, 7 or 8, this is 2, 3 or 4. Now, does that rule anything out? I doubt it, but let me just think about that. If that was 4, 6, this is an 8, 6, 5 box. Nine, 4, 6. That doesn't work, does it? Because what is this 4 by 4 adding up to? I keep forgetting this number. It is 25. 4, 6 doesn't work because 9's in this green area and you'd need another 6. So it's not 6, 4. Interesting. Now this is quite low, and that might be quite good because if this is 8, 2, 10, well, actually this always adds up to 10. So this is always 9, 6. Oh, that's utterly blatant. That's how I got the 6, 4 out. Now this cage can't have a 6 in it, and therefore it doesn't have a 5 in it. It is 8, 7, 4. That's 9, 6. These digits do combine with the 9 and the 6. One is a 1 and one is a 4. That is definite. This is now not a 4. It's 2 or 3. This is a 1, 2, 3 triple in which 2 must be there. That's not changed anything. That's 1 or 4. This is 2, 3 or 5 only. Now I've got 9, 6, 4, 7, 8 now. 4 is definitely in one of these two cells. And I want to say, yeah, it's in a 3-cell sum because it can't go with 6, which is confined there now. So 4 is in one of these cells in a 3-cell sum. If it was up here, it would have to be 4, 1, 5, and that would be broken. Yeah, that's right. So it's there. 4 is there and not here. And this is the 3-cell sum. And it is 4, 1, 5, and this digit has to be a 1. There we go. That's a 5. I don't know what this is yet. We'll get to that. But this is now 2. This is not 2. It's therefore odd, and this is 2. Gosh, this is quite a strange puzzle. It's very clever. It's very clever. Oh, the 2 goes with the 8 in this box. So that's a 6, and I could have seen that from the 7-8 pair looking down, which stops this being a 7 as well. I hadn't noticed that. This is a 6-1-3, that's an 8-2, that's 1-4-5. This one we don't know. It's either 7-3 or 2-8. It's going to decide that in turn as well, but I wonder if I've done the puzzle in entirely the wrong order. Anyway, we're here now, and we're here because we are here. Right, now I need to think about these other 4-cell lines. And I have to not forget that they could be a single 1, 2, 3, 4. This one, indeed, could have a repeat digit, which can't be a 1 anymore, and can't be a 2. Are there any other available repeat digits? No. If you had a 3 repeating, oh, well, repeat 5 could be a 2-cell segment. There was a stage when Zetamath was creating 10 lines. There was almost a tradition that every puzzle featuring 10 lines had to have a 5-5 somewhere in it, which was quite amusing to nerds like me. Oh, I don't know. Right, how are we going to decide on this 17 page? These digits can't contain 9 or 8. The most they can add up to is 13, so this is at least a 4, which actually we knew from the fact that 2, 1, 3 had been used up in the row. So that doesn't advance us. Okay, can I... 2, yes, okay. Why did I stop thinking? I worked out that you can't have a repeated 1 on this line because that can't be a 1. Therefore, there's only 1 1 allowed in this box. You can't have a repeat 2, which is actually because 2 sees every digit on the line from there. You can't have a repeat 3 because 1 would be here, 1 would be in this box, and the other 2 cells would have to add up to 4, which would include another repeat 3, or 2 2s. You can't have a repeat 4 because the other 2 digits would be 1s. So there's no repeats on the line. There's no repeats on a single cell 10 line. Now, I also know this cannot be a single 10 line, a single sum 10 line, not a single cell 10 line. This can't now be a single sum 10 line at all because it can't be 1, 2, 3, 4 because 2 sees every cell on it. So this is definitely two cell 10 lines. And that's knowledge that is gained. This one can't be a 2-8 line because of 2 having gone. This digit is 4, 5, 7, 8 or 9. It cannot be 8 because 8, 2 is impossible. It can't be 5 because that would be the 2 cell 5, 5. That's impossible. So this is 4, 7 or 9. This is 6, 3 or 1 to make up that first 10 line. These two add together as well. Oh, this line can't be a single sum 10 line either, because if that was 1, 2, 3 and 4, that would break. Ah, so this is a 2 cell 10 line now also. A 2 sum 10 line. Why do I keep using cell instead of sum? Now, if those two add up to 10, we know from the cage that that's a 2. This is 1 or 3, and that is 7 or 9. That is quite possible. If these two add up to 10, then these two add up to 10. That doesn't look quite so... Oh no, okay, there is something interesting. If those two add up to 10, that's a 2 to make up the cage sum. If those two add up to 10, they are the same parity as each other, and that is different parity. So these two are different parity from each other, and this cell would have to be odd to make the 12 sum. I don't know how that works. Okay, if this was a 1, let's just think about that. This would be a 9, but these two would have to add up to 16. They would need another 9, so that is not a 1 and that's not a 9. Okay, that's good. If this was a 6, that would be a 4. These two would add up to 11. They couldn't be 6, 5, 4, 7 or 2, 9. They would have to be 3, 8. If that's a 6, we get 3 there and 8 here. If this is a 3, these two add up to 14. They're either 6, 8, that way round, 6, 8, or 5, 9 with 5 there and 9 there. So we now are quite limited in terms of what can be in this box. 9, 3, 5, 7, 2. We would have 1, 4, 6, 8 to make up the rest of the box. If instead this is a 3, 6 pair, that's an 8. Nine would be in one of those cells. This can't be 9. Ah, this can't be 9 because of the 2-cell 10 sum would make a 1 there. Oh, I was going to say this can't be 9 because that would be a 1. That's nonsense. I'm misunderstanding what a dot is. That would be 8. So this can be 9. So one of these 2 cells is 9. Where's 8 in the box? It's in one of these 2 cells. 8 can't be there because of the 2-cell 10 line. This has to be 8 by Sudoku. No, 8 can be here instead with a 7 or a 9 there. Oh, but this is now a 9-8 pair by Sudoku. And this digit is 9, 8 or 7 by the white dot, which I keep wanting to read as an X for some reason. But that's now a 9-8 pair. That's really strange. Every deduction in this puzzle is very hard won. I mean, I can't believe there are giveaways that I've been missing throughout. I just can't. I would have come across them at some point by now. Now, these two add up to 10. I'm so tempted to believe that it's 2 5s. This one now can't be 9 or 8 because they're a pair here. It can't be 2. That does leave quite a lot of possibilities that aren't all 5. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 is gone because we've got a 1, 4 pair in this column, so that can't be 1 or 4. Okay, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, making this 3, 5, 6, 7 or 9. I wish I hadn't sketched these in now. That 8, 9 pair, that is so strange. Now, if that's a 9, these are a 3, 5 pair, and that's 8. That would have to be 6. If that's an 8, this is a 6, 3 pair, 6, 3, 9. This would be 5 or 7. Doesn't have that many alternatives, therefore. I'm going to have to... Oh, these add up to 20. I mean, that on its own is quite interesting. Here's another really odd fact. I was wondering about where 4 goes in this box. And it could go here. It could be on the line, but that'd be quite interesting because it would have to be in one of those positions with a 6, because this is 2 sets of 2. So that would be useful. The other place is here. That has a lot of implications. If that's a 4, this is 7, that's 3. That has become 4. And this now can't be 7, 3 or 4. It would have to be 1 or 5, making that 9 or 5. 5 can't go on this line because it would be with another 5. That's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. For 5 to go here, yeah, so 5 is in one of these 2 cells. It can't go on the teal line. Okay, this is quite interesting. I'm going to pursue this. If this was 5, I think it's going to be here. But if it was here, this has to be 6. Because it can't be 4. 6 needs to go with a 4 in one of these positions. It can't be there because that would leave these 2 to add up to 10, which would break the cage with a 5 there. So it would have to be 5 here, 6 here, 4 here. To make the cage up, that's 3 and that's 7. Then we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in there. 1, 9, 8, and 2. I mean, that does hang together. So, but it's absolutely fully mandated. So, if 5 is here, we get 6 here. 4, 3, 7. I'm trying to look at this cell. No, it's much simpler. I should look at this one. If that's 5, we get 6, 4, 3, 7. This becomes 9, and that must be 1. If, on the other hand, this is 5, that must be 5. So it's now only able to be 1 or 5, which is a real narrowing down of choices. And this is therefore only 5 or 9, because it's a 2-cell segment. So if this is 5, this is 9. And now we were saying if that's 5, we've got 6, 4, 3, 7 here, 9 there, 8 there, 1 there, 2 there. 1 and 2 there fails on the white dot. Wow, okay, good. This is not 5. This is the 5, and we do have a 5, 5 segment. Now these 2 add up to 9 to make the cage total, that's 8. This is 9, that's 8 on the dot. This has become a 7, that's 4 in the corner, that's 1 in the box, that's 6 on the line. This green line, we've got a 1, 9, let's get rid of the green. This is a 6, 4 bit of the line. This is, still don't know, yes we do, because we get the white dot now. 3, 7, 8, 2. That's become a 4 by Sudoku. Oh, yes, I was going to say I still can't disambiguate this, but the 3 and the 1 will do it. And now we're going to get 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spot. Light losing its religion. Right, now, can we finish off? These add up to 20, 28, 32, 37. These 2 add up to 8, and they're not 5, 3. But they could still be 6, 2 or 1, 7 in particular orders. So this digit is 2 or 7. That still allows these 2 to add up to 10, which is quite surprising. Okay, just by Sudoku, eliminating everything it sees in the row, column and box, that's 3 or 7. This is 3 or 9. this. 1, 2 or 9. Pencil marking is the way to do it, maybe. 1, 2 or 7. So have I got any place? 6 seems to have to be there. Yes, look, I've got 6 and 6 looking at this whole cross section. So that's a 6. Now I know that this is a 2 because I know that this diamond adds up to 20 and I can add up the whole box. You do know the secret of a whole box, don't you? That it always adds up to 45. So that's a 2. That's a 3 going with, it's got to go with a 7 in a 2-cell segment. That's there. This is 1. That's 9. The cage adds up. The box adds up. All the lines work. Bingo. What a brilliant puzzle, Maya. That's fabulous. I don't know the name Maya. I don't know if Simon solved a puzzle by Maya before. I haven't. And that is very clever. Super stuff. How constructors do this is amazing. Now, I was looking ahead a bit on the left side, and some people will accuse me of bifurcation. I always claim that if I can see it in my brain, it's not bifurcation. And I don't know how else you solve that puzzle. So I'll be very interested in the comments. Do be kind to my solving. I appreciate it if you are. But do tell me what you found that was better, because that's always very interesting too. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you again soon on the channel. Bye for now.